So I may not be anywhere near big enough to get a review copy of the game, but it doesn't mean that I can't talk about the insane demo that was released recently. I'd spent a good bit of time messing with it while it was available, since it was a limited time demo, made a few ZOIs, and I feel pretty confident now in saying that this creator is far superior to anything EA has put out in the recent years. So let's talk about it. And feel free to put your thoughts in the comments too. InZOI is a new and upcoming simulation game that was announced in April of this year, and has recently followed that up with a character creation demo and promise of more to come soon. I would compare it to games like The Sims, Life by You, and Paralives. It's being developed by Krafton Games, a Korean-based team who have previously worked on games such as Subnautica and PUBG Battlegrounds. The release estimate is currently late 2024, but I have a feeling it'll end up being pushed into early 2025. Personally, I don't mind delays like that, as it means people are putting more effort into the game, and we don't have a rushed product like The Sims 4. And basically every pack that's ever released for it. So let's get into the actual demo we got. All the footage I'll be using today is taken from the video on my long play channel, so if you want to watch me playing the demo in full, check it out there. When you load it up, the game greets you with a beautiful intro that shows you a bit about the game. You'll eventually load into a small office area that allows you to either select the screen to load up Canvas, the new ZOI exchange, or you can go into New Game and go into the creator. Also, click the cat, it likes it. Opening the creator screen, you will first see a motivational message about family. Family is always there to support you, providing the strength of love and understanding. You will also see where you can name your ZOI and go into actually making them. You can only make one in this demo, but you can save presets that are basically the equivalent of saving a sim to the sim bin to edit later. I named mine after me, Richard Froggy. Going into the creator, you get immediately thrown into several different options, some of which are still in development. You can pick your age, child through elder, gender, and what trait you want your ZOI to have. The trait system is both simple and in-depth. Each trait has a set of personality quirks and a description talking about how your ZOI talks, thinks, and feels. I like it a lot personally, and I feel like if they were to allow custom traits for modders, this will open up a huge level of depth to the game that competes along the same lines of The Sims 3's trait system. The sexual identity profile and desired life areas are both still in development and can't be used, but we can see that they exist, which is cool. Before you even go into editing your character, you have a studio setup that you can use to customize your creating experience. 5 different backgrounds with customizable coloring and lighting. You can make all kinds of unique scenes, even with the limited framework they give you. You can also pick different poses and expressions if you need to see how your ZOI looks in a specific way. Going into the creator, there's a lot here to work with. In the presets, you can save your completed work, simple enough. Then you go into the face editor, and wow, there's a lot of detail. For this being a demo, there's a lot of presets to work with, and almost everything has a color wheel, from hair, skin, eyes, clothes, even nails. The hair is really interesting to me, since some can be a customized length. There's a decent variety for it being a demo, but the beards and the mustaches are heavily lacking. The eye selection is a lot of fun, already having some of the contacts that people go out of their way to go and download. I can make lizard people in base game. That's great. The makeup selection is pretty decent as well, separating itself into highlighter, blush, eyeliner, eyeshadow, and lipstick, with a few different options for each. Now let's talk about the actual editor, and there is a lot to talk about. There's 2 modes, basic editing and detailed editing. Basic edit allows you to move parts around to your liking and do simple changes to your face shape. There's not a ton of detail, but you can resize features as well here, which that's kind of the point. It's basic. Detailed edit mode is where it gets fun though. It basically takes the detailed editor of The Sims 3, gives it some TLC, and hands it to The Sims 4's click and drag style of editing. And if you turn off symmetry, it's even more detailed. Is your left eyelid a little droopier than your right? You can do that. Is the middle part of your ear a bit more turned in than the rest? You can do that too. The most detailed editor part is the eyes. You can change both corners, 3 parts of the lid, and how your eyelashes sit. So I can make them like me, where they're almost always in my eye, and I have to almost daily gently pull on them to help prevent loose ones from falling in. The body editor, though, is much less detailed. I'm okay with that, though. It doesn't need a ton of detail to be good, but it does need some work, and I'll get into that when I talk about bugs, complaints, and suggestions in a little bit. The clothing selection is really nice. Like, there's more than enough here to get a variety of styles to your liking. Sporty, alternative, girly pop, preppy, there's a bit of everything. I really like that the jackets are a separate overlay instead of being stuck with the tops, so you can have more variety with less effort. There's also an AI tool and a feature that allows you to upload your own textures, but I didn't really bother to play with it since I personally don't see myself using them super often. Photo mode was fun to use though. I like the amount of poses you get and how versatile they can be if you know how to work with the camera and the lighting. I can see myself spending a lot of time messing with the photo mode since a lot of my time playing simulation games is spent making people and taking pretty pictures of them. This all being said, I do have some issues and suggestions, so I'm gonna go ahead and get into those. So I'm gonna go through the different bugs and problems I personally encountered while playing. Not everyone who plays will have these, so if you're thinking, hey, I didn't see that when I was playing, a lot of the bugs people have been having are very graphic card specific. Some of these also just are personal things that I'd like to see. Firstly, the intro video itself has a few minor problems. The first half a second or so, I heard audio, but I had no actual visual. I'd cut down my long play video to where the visual actually starts. If you play in windowed mode also, the resolution for the intro video and the game itself will be different, which was annoying since I'm using a single monitor for recording right now. The intro video is in 720p, where I have my game set to 180p, so I had to quickly swap between windows in order to set OBS's dimensions to be the proper ones for the game. Leading into the game itself, I immediately disliked the scroll bars. They blend in just a little too much, and since I have a hard time with grayscale differences, I had a hard time telling when there was a scroll bar or not if it wasn't obvious through the text. I think a small outline or shadow on them would make a huge difference in visibility. In the character creator, it's a small tidbit, but I feel like they should use a different label besides gender for the initial selector if gender identity is going to be a separate factor in your ZOI. They could use maybe presenting gender as an option to make it less confusing for those who might be being introduced to less traditional gender concepts in InZOI. Since they have non-binary under the sexual identity, I feel like they need to have different terms for it. Adding on to the character selector, I have also seen some other videos of other creators having a really weird particle effect when you're using a lower end system. I feel like they should find a way to smooth it out a bit more. Maybe have some kind of fade or blur instead of this particle transition that they've got. I personally didn't have this issue, but that's likely because my laptop is quite literally one of the newest ones on the market currently, and most people aren't going to be making payments on a brand new system right now to play InZOI. On a note of inclusivity, plus size, fat, however you want to call it, bigger bodies. Not everyone is thin or average. We need better looking sliders, drags, whatever you want to call it, for bigger bodies. Also from other videos that I've seen, because I didn't make any plus size characters, but I've seen other people who did, the clothes are not optimized for what is there. There is a lot of clipping. We have great skin tone representation, not hair, but I'm giving them some slack for the demo. Hopefully they'll have more on release, since there was textured hair and it did look good. Just, it's very limited. But now we also need some size inclusivity. I will say, I don't think it's intentional like I've seen some people claim. I think it's mostly that skinny bodies are the default on these character creators typically, so it's just not been optimized yet since we're still in a demo stage. And a small but slightly annoying thing that I'll close this part out on is that the music stops for way too long between loops. I could even see it in my editor of the silence between each loop was just a little bit too long. So with all of this being said, I did have a lot of fun playing with the demo, and I'm excited to see how the game comes to be. Whether we get more demos first, whether we get the main game, DLC, I'm here for it. This seems like some solid competition for The Sims, which is desperately needed, but we'll just have to see how it is on release. Games in their demo state, as we all know, can come out completely different from the final. And with AI, microtransactions, online versus offline, all of that being factors, we just don't know yet. It's too early on to be able to say how this is going to turn out, but I'm hoping it'll be good. With this all being said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed my little tidbit on this, exciting demo. See ya!